Hey Colin, very observant with that Mario theory, with the whole Paper Mario versus Mario thing. Um, I kind of thought about this when I was editing the video, and I didn't really want to go back and re-record. So, kind of my idea for it is they're just two different people. Multiple people have played, the same fictional character over and over again. Like, look at all the people that have played, 007 James Bond, or, have played Batman, or, something like that. Superman, for instance. Even we're going to have our third Spider-Man now. So, I mean, it's possible for, there to be two of the same character, but what you're saying about them being in the same game, I would kind of call it like one of those cameo things where it's like, in the original, in the Incredible Hulk movie, they had Lou Ferrigno as the security guard because he was the original Hulk in the TV show. It could be something like that, just a little bit more drawn out. I mean, there's tons of ideas that you can apply to this. So, I don't know. It's just kind of like whatever works for you is what you'd want to go with. As for Mario and Baby Mario and the other baby characters like that, there are times in like TV shows or movies where they have flashbacks to, that person's childhood, and obviously it's not that same guy, it's just the child actor that is playing them at a younger stage. They're two different people, but obviously they're in the same movie, and I mean, for the movie's sake, it doesn't make sense to have these two characters interact. One example of them actually reacting would be X-Men Days of Futures Past, where, Charles Xavier actually talks. I don't think they actually meet, but they have some kind of conversation with each other. It's been a while since I've seen that movie. I don't remember exactly how it works. But, like, even in... I can't even think of examples, like, because they're all over the place, where it's like, an event happens and then they reflect and they see something in their past. The first thing that's jumped in my head is Supernatural, because sometimes, what the boys learned, when they were growing up affects how they do this current hunt. Yeah. So, Colin, when I first saw your video, I saw the video titled Cubes of Rubik. I knew right away that you were just going to be talking about Rubik's Cube, and as you know, I have no interest in Rubik's Cube whatsoever, so I figured I was going to be bored during the entire video, but your video was actually kind of entertaining. It kept my interest, even though your video was pretty long. I wasn't like, oh my god, is it over yet? So, kudos to you, sir. So, as for my resolution to get back into writing and to write more, I have gone a little bit, not as much as I had hoped or wanted to, but I have gone, so I'm proud of myself for at least doing that. Yeah, and it's going good. I've got a lot of ideas for different things. Itchy eye. So I do have a lot of ideas, but as you may know, I do have one major idea that I'm mostly focusing on. I wrote that all pretty much throughout high school. I've been writing this story for a long time, just adding to it and tweaking it and changing it. And recently, I've decided that I'm going to actually rewrite the entire thing. Like, just start a new Word document and just rewrite the whole thing. I think that now that I'm a little bit older and I know a little bit more, I can flush out the story and make it a lot better, overall. I'm not that very far into this, if you want to call it a second draft. I've only got a couple pages written. But already, the way I started it, like, with the whole intro sequence, I feel is a lot stronger than the original. So this story that I'm talking about, it's going to be a series. This is going to be, like, my big thing that I work on. I mean, I've got tons of other ideas for, other stories and whatnot. But this is my main focus. Like, if I'm a writer that writes several different things, this would probably be, the thing that I would be most proud of or most known for. Similar to like Suzanne Collins with The Hunger Games. I mean, she's written other things, but everybody knows The Hunger Games. But by no means am I telling you that I'm going to be the next, J.K. Rowling or Suzanne Collins that is going to, have a big story like Harry Potter or Hunger Games. I'm not saying that at all. A lot of people don't realize this, but writing and, mostly the publishing process is very difficult. there's a lot of, behind the scenes work that needs to be put into it. And if you guys are interested in that kind of thing, I can, talk about that a little bit more in another video. I don't really feel like getting into it right now, just... So from here, I'm just going to ramble on a little bit about my stories and, what I write. So if there's anything that kind of piques your interest, let me know in the comments, and I will expand on it in another video. If you guys, want that to be a regular thing, I can, do writing type videos more. I really enjoy it, so, I mean, if you guys are into it, then let's go for it. So my main story that I'm really into, that I was kind of briefly mentioning, that's going to be like my big thing, I'm titling it as E and I. It's going to be written in first person, and proper grammar is to say, like, Shelly and I went to the store, which is why the title is E and I, because it's in first person, and it's about two boys. Obviously, one boy is, talking in first person, and then his best friend, his nickname is E, so that's why the title is E and I. I'm not really going to get into the actual story or plot because, obviously this hasn't been written yet. But if you guys want to know more of my ideas and, what I have, in store, let me know in the comments. Yeah, so the main focus that I want to do with my whole second draft rewrite thing is I want to flush out my characters more. I'm not very strong at character development, describing my characters. My strong suit, I would have to say, is dialogue. I'm very good at writing dialogue. So if you guys want to know some tips at that, I can do a video on that. I don't know. I guess this is basically a promotional video to let me know if you guys want me to do more videos in this type of thing. So this is the journal that I'm currently writing in. As I said, I would want the E and I book to become a series. And this one here, with my handwritten paper, I'm on book 3. Obviously, it needs a lot of work. This is, like, the roughest draft ever. But for this third book, I'm not even that far, like, into it, like, plot-wise in my head. And I'm already at, let me see here. I'm already at about 45 pages. So this is my other journal that I write in. It's kind of confusing because they're both red. But, this one is just random ideas that I just have, and, if I don't feel like writing my main story, I just write in this one. I've been trying to write, like, more, into the characters, like I was talking about, because I have a cast of 8 characters that's introduced, and it sounds bad, but just like kids, like, I mean, you're not supposed to, but you have favorites, and it's definitely clear to see that when I'm writing, because I focus mostly towards, like, 3 characters out of the 8, and, some of them right in the middle, and then there's, like, 2 that I barely even write anything for. I don't want those 2 to get left behind. I really need to develop them more, so they're all, collectively important. Because they are equally important characters, and they need to seem that way. So I have taken creative writing classes in the past, and one of the big things for character development, that way you can get to know your characters a little bit better. One of the big things that they suggest is to have just a random scenario, even if your character would never be, like, in that scenario ever, and just throw them in there and just write however they would react. So throwing your characters into these random situations can be kind of tricky, especially if, obviously it's not what they would be doing. But, so to help with that, I actually have this thing. It's 400 writing things, and most of these things are like, how do you feel, or what do you think about this? So what I've been doing is when I answer these, like, this is a blank page. It's got like 6 things on each page. I've just been randomly going through and answering these questions in the mindset of my characters. I kind of just, like, randomly pick one, and then I answer that question as this character. And their response may not be the same as my personal response, and it's important for me to realize that way these characters all have their own voice, and, they can be more diversified, and they're not just flat, nothing to them characters. So I guess that's all I really wanted to say about writing. I mean, I can elaborate a lot more, but I just wanted to keep this kind of brief and just kind of go over some, quick things. If you guys want to see more of this type of stuff, let me know in the comments, like the video, all that good stuff, just to let me know that you are interested in this kind of stuff. Because if you're not, then I'm not going to talk about it at all. But if you are, then hell yeah, I'll talk about this all day. So one last thing for those of you that are into writing, I suggest you guys get some of these little miniature notepads that you can just carry around with you. That way, if you get an idea, you can just scribble it down right away. So many times have I been driving or been somewhere where I couldn't write, and I've had this great idea for some kind of story or some kind of element, but then by the time I get home to write it down, it's like, ah, crap, what was that? With this, you can write it down right away, and that way you don't forget your ideas. And plus, if you've got something you need to figure out, or if you're kind of have writer's block, you can just scribble something down and move on. Writer's block. Ugh. I can talk about that too if you guys want me to. So that is pretty much all for this video. I know it's kind of generalized and just kind of everywhere, but if you guys want to see more of this stuff, be sure to let me know. And yeah, let me know what you thought of this video, Colin, and if there's anything you want to hear more about, or if there's anything more about Mario or anything like that, let's get into it. And yeah, see you later. Hey guys, thanks again for watching. So those of you that have been keeping up with me, you will notice that I'm in a new location. I actually redid my setup down here, so I hope you guys like this way a little bit better. If not, too bad. Be sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.